I'm well, thank you.
Okay, so your title is Public Health Manager. Your 4 navigators. What are the navigators' responsibilities?
So navigators are responsible for addressing all residential needs. We do that through an intake process. So if a resident comes in to City Hall, they can receive assistance. They can also call us by phone, or they can email over. It also includes outreach events, so attending whatever is happening in the community. They gather supplies, set up table, and assist in that capacity with helping the residents out there. It also includes training on Narcan as needed, distributing Narcan throughout various locations in the city, as well as sometimes it includes going to the ward conversations to speak to residents in a more intimate level.
Yeah, thank you. And then the 2 front desk staff, that would be what we call the help desk, correct?
Correct. Information desk. Yes.
Oh, information desk, help desk. Thank you so much. And then just going back, I see here, because you include Narcan and all that in your training, and I do see that there are some proposed activities from the opioid fund. This $1,465,518, what part of the opioid funding is this coming from? Or this is probably more so a question for Mr. Moore or Che, possibly you as well, Christian. But and what I mean by that is there's 70% that has to go toward specific use and 30% that can go toward other uses. So how much of that $1,465,518 that is proposed, is that coming from the 70% of specific use? And if so, how does it fit in that category? What are the specific uses?
The answer is yes.
It's coming from the 70%?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
So what that looks like, everywhere that the navigators go, they have Narcan available. In addition to that, we've purchased Narcan kiosks to be made available throughout the city. The first purchase was six different kiosks or cabinets, and then we have the plan to purchase more because we have a lot of churches that are interested in having it. And as I work with council members in their ward locations or businesses that will need to have access to it as well. When we also talk about opioid, it's everything surrounding mental health and stability. So public health in general encompasses all of that. It's called the social determinants of health, so that's what we need. So it could be access to mental health services, intentional partnerships with organizations within the city that provide those services like GHS, and also working with the Genesee County Prevention Coalition, some training, and the navigators also sit on work groups with them as well. So everything that we do is preventative work for residents, and then helping families that are dealing with someone addicted. Maybe they lost all their funds because of it, so trying to help them navigate to employment services and agencies as well.
Go talk a little bit more about what you just said. Yeah.
So when we talk about addiction and being on opioids or any type of drugs, it doesn't just affect you, it affects your family as well, especially if you're within the home. So there are residents that have been in situations where they have used resources to try to help family members that are on drugs, or they've had family members that left them in a bind because they were addicted to drugs, so that caused them to be without household items. So for us, the partnerships that we create and the agencies that we're allowing to work with us can provide services addressing those mental health behaviors, addressing their stability and how to basically navigate systems. My staff, the importance is training. So they have to be trained on how to deal with residents like that. You can't just go and talk to them. You have to use certain coaching and motivational interviewing in order to help those residents and the family members.
Okay, so then 2 questions from what you just stated. One, when you talk about the training for your staff, what particular training is proposed for this year, and then how is that there? I don't see it immediately, so forgive me if it is there and I'm missing it, but how much are you proposing to go toward that training?
So The line item would be education, training, and conference. So I have one navigator right now that went through community health worker training to be certified. The goal is to get all of them enrolled to be certified. That gives you basic skills as a professional and various, role-playing opportunities. That shows you how to de-escalate in those situations, how to not move off of emotions, and then also being able to assess. There are also conferences that my staff has not been to that surrounds public health, but some of them are more focused on the mental health aspect and the substance use aspect. And so the goal is to get them to those annual conferences. Many happen within just the state of Michigan alone.
Thank you for pointing that out. That it is in the education, training, and conferences section, and that's projected $41,470. And that is for the 4 navigators as well as yourself. Okay.
Correct.
And then when you talked about some of the partnerships that you have and getting them connected to the partnerships, is the city doing sub-grants with those people, or help me understand how they fit into this budget? Are we sub-granting or?
So they become a sole, is it sole source? What's this?
I think,
Where do we do it?
well, a specific example would help, but I mean, they're just professional services.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to make sure. Okay. So basically, sorry, professional services contract.
Got it.
So the organization, let's say, for example, I have a men's health initiative right now that meets once a month. That initiative focuses on everything health related for males, even if it's related to hypertension or blood pressure, things of that capacity. In those conversations, the residents are also having discussions surrounding what causes different health outcomes. So when we talk about public health, it's addressing everything that leads to behavior and addressing everything that can cause a change of behavior.
Okay, thank you. And under that professional services, you are proposing $111,000. $111,672. And so, do you have categories? So, for instance, I'm trying to figure out how to word this. Where you say, okay, so 50,000 will go toward specifically for children or youth, 60,000 will go toward. Do you have it broken down like that as far as this budget, or with this 111?
In this budget, I did not break it down based on category, only because the work we do is data-driven, which in public health it changes, and I don't want to commit to saying only 50,000 can go towards children, but then we see the need to have more than that.
All right. And you probably literally just answered this, but with the 111,000, because I know you just said you don't break it down by categories, but are there certain trends that we see in our city that we know the 111,000 will go towards, if that makes sense?
We do. A lot of what we have to provide at this point is access to education and information. So what that means is from our senior population, the middle-aged population, and children. Children probably have more access than the adults and senior population because they're in schools where programs happen. Okay. Noticing a lot of adults, and especially support for men, is where the gap really is. I intentionally work with the Genesee County Health Department in order to understand what's happening within the city and the area. That's a part of the unwritten partnerships that I have. It's saying, what data are you seeing? What does it look like? It's more cumbersome for them because they don't focus just on Flint, but I'm able to kind of take some of the data and decipher between what the needs are. So right now it's just really access to the information, access to the resources, and the support. The support is probably the bigger piece. And a lot of residents don't know where to go to get the help, and that's where the navigators come in, and that's why we really try to be out and outreach and saying, okay, even if you're currently on, we want to provide you with this information, Narcan, let's follow back up with you, bring you into the office or meet you where you are, and the partnerships provide us the ability to do a warm handoff. so that resident doesn't feel isolated or alone.
Thank you. One of the things that I do appreciate about being able to do budget hearings, obviously while we stick to the budget and numbers, there's also an opportunity, because we found that a lot of people do watch from home or they go back and watch later, is they learn about some of the services or some of the things that we're doing in the city that they might not necessarily have known were taking place. So if you could do me a favor, because I know that people are watching, could you give the number to the public health office, because you've talked about quite a few services, some that I didn't even know we were helping with. That would be really helpful.
So the wonderful information desk number is 810-410-2020.
Okay, thank you so much. I do want to go back to, I just feel like I have all this time because it's just us, Councilwoman Priestley, so whenever you're ready to cut me off, please let me know. Oh, you're so funny. I do want to go back to, with the Narcan kiosks, and again, with this $1,465,518 that is from the opioid budget, how much of that specifically will be spent on those kiosks? And how much is it per kiosk? If there is a number, and if not, you can just give me a total number.
So the first purchase, again, was 6. The 6 included 3 cabinets, wall cabinets, and then 3 kind of standalone. So if you come into City Hall, the front door, you'll see what that small purple box is. Those 6 cost a little over $4,500. That was including shipping and delivery to us.
Per unit?
Total.
Total for 6?
For 6.
You said 500 for 6?
5,000.
Oh, 5,000.
5,000.
You see my surprise there?
4,800.
Like, wait.
About $5,000 for 6.
I got you. Okay.
And with those 6, we put one up in McKinley Center, one up in Mays Center. We gave a local church a standalone, and then we have one in City Hall. And hopefully be able to get the other one out soon.
Okay.
In Ward 4.
Right. And so then do we have a number, or are they purchased as requested, or do you already have an amount in mind that you will purchase? Like, how are you?
Within this year, I'm looking to purchase an additional 10.
An additional 10?
Yes.
Okay. And then from there, they will just go out as requested?
Correct.
Okay. All right, Councilwoman Priestley, I will go ahead and yield for now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So you said you were going to purchase an additional 10. Is that going to go under your equipment line item? Is that included in this budget?
It is. Professional services is how it had been budgeted in the previous budget. So.
Okay, and you've got 111,000. It's down a little bit. Now, we do purchase the Narcan too, correct, for them?
So the Narcan, I apply through the state to receive it, and it is free. So I'm able to I'm able to apply for 396 boxes at a time, and I continue, and I can do that as many times as I need to. Okay. I looked into purchasing it, and right now, since it's free, we're taking that route. Absolutely.
Thank you very much for considering that. And looking at the budget, it looks like you're adding an employee from the 25-26 budget. Is that correct? Do you have those employees in place now? And we are going to go over, or we budgeted enough?
It's budgeted enough.
Okay.
It's budgeted enough for an additional.
So the 2026 budget includes the
includes what I would need fully
and all
staffed.
6?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Let me see. Most of this is all salaries and wages and the supplies. Now, you're not having mileage reimbursed. You got a little bit of mileage, but I'm assuming you're using city cars?
No, we use our personal vehicles.
Oh, because there's vehicle and equipment intracity. What does that include? It's $28,974.
Yeah, as Shebra and I were looking at the budget together, that was probably just translated over. There were 2 resolutions that went through the council that allocated opioid funds to this office.
And it included that in it?
It did. So, and that was several years ago. So I don't know if there was originally a plan for city vehicles to be used, but I do know that going back 3 fiscal years, not a dollar has ever been spent out of that account.
So we can remove that from that budget?
Yeah.
Okay, because yes, ma'am. Okay,
I was just gonna say, I wouldn't necessarily remove it. I think with the work that they're doing, especially with the populations that they may have to serve,
We may
I
wanna
think
move
it
it.
would make sense for them to have city vehicles as opposed to
I
using their
do,
own
too.
personal vehicles. That seems a bit risky, but go ahead.
And with us using our personal vehicles, we do not transport residents. Instead, we've purchased bus passes and we've able to warm hand them off, so.
that might be the safest way to do it anyways, rather than having them in a vehicle with you. Since we're all women, right?
Yes.
I mean, it would be nice to have a man in that office, not be.
Well, I have two. I have 2 males.
Oh, okay.
I do have 2 males, but in my formal training, I know how to use the situations, which is why I'm ensuring my staff get trained as well. But yeah, we don't transport residents in our private vehicles. To me, that is a liability. Unfortunately, when residents come in and they need to get from point A to point B, we do provide bus passes if we can get it to them. If not, we try to help them navigate other transportation options.
Okay, yeah, 'cause I would hate to find you alone in a car, any of our employees alone in a car with somebody who could be a problem.
So is,
He's saying transporting, that's not what I meant. I
Okay.
mean that sometimes they may have to go to specific areas or be at specific events.
Right.
And, serving a certain segment of the population. I think sometimes when people are in addiction situations, you don't know, where their mindset is. And so now if I see your personal vehicle and I have your personal license and all of that
Oh,
stuff,
for
I have a
safety
different
purposes.
access to you
And-
than I
Correct.
would if it were a city vehicle.
And that is a good point, so
So that's what I mean by
we're
we
gonna,
should.
all right, so obviously, we are kind of encouraging you to do that now.
Yes, yes. So
Okay.
we've limited going into those particular areas. We really, if we meet you at an outreach event, we follow up via phone. They'll come into the office. I've encouraged staff to just do that again. The only time we went into maybe questionable situations if we were with blight, because blight does call on us when they are dealing with those situations, and you will find sometimes residents are on some type of substance.
Okay,
so if I can ask,
go ahead, Jonathan.
you made reference to the use of your personal vehicle in persons not being transported. Is the reason they're not transported because they're in your personal vehicle, or is there a non-transport sort of policy across the board to reduce exposure?
In my formal training as case management, that's just not something you do unless there's a policy in place where we're signing a document that will allow us to do it.
Okay, and well, let me maybe ask it this way, because I just want to make sure I'm clear. If you were driving a city vehicle, would you then transport
If it is, yes, if it is allowed, and in that situation, there would be 2 navigators, not 1.
Okay.
Okay, so is it allowed? I guess, I'm just trying to understand if part of what may be if part of what is understood is that because you're using a personal vehicle, that prohibits you from transporting. If it were that you were driving a city vehicle, would you still be prohibited from transporting?
If I may answer that, because what she's saying is their policy is no transportation at all. That's
That's
why
what
they
I
get
wanna
the bus
understand.
passes. Yeah.
I think we'd have to look at our insurance policy for that. I'm not sure that they would be covered under the insurance we currently have.
Okay.
If they're on a regular basis transporting.
No, he's not
I'm
asking
not-
to
I'm not in favor of
incorporate it. He's
transporting.
not, he was making
Yeah.
sure that we were not. He's not asking to. And the answer to your question is there's no transportation at
Yeah,
all.
and that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm much in favor of providing bus pass or that for transportation
Correct.
and not putting a individual in the vehicle.
Right,
Correct.
right. So, and the reason why is, do we want to leave that $28,000 in the budget, or do we want to move it? So that's going to be a question that we'll have to go through and discuss, because there's no debating here. But at least we have that information that you are not using it, and maybe it should be moved to another line item. It's like supplies to if we have to buy Narcan for the future? Is it in, do you have any money in your budget right now for the purchase of Narcan?
I do, but based on what it would cost, I would not be able to provide much.
Okay, all right. So that's one of the questions, because
Yeah.
we want to make sure that you have the tools to do your job. And what you guys do is so invaluable to this community. You started in the water crisis, but you have morphed into this, and there's such a need for, and we seem to be spending a lot of time on the Narcan issue, but you do other things as well that, especially in my ward, in certain areas of my ward, it's very necessary, and we have to continue our conversation as to where to put
Yes,
that building
yes.
or that item. So, Mr. Jarrett, have you had a chance to look at the budget yet? Have any questions? I know you got here late.
Yeah, I'm looking at it, and I did hear a conversation around the Narcan, and did you say it's embedded in one of these line items?
There's grants as well.
Most of what we operate with funding will be under the professional services.
Okay, so that's there. And the printing and publishing there's a significant increase there. What are we looking to do different?
So one thing that our office does well is service the community. We have a printer in our department, and we have residents that we allow our printer to be used for. So whether we're making copies of their applications, helping them making copies of their documents, because as part of that case management piece is helping them through application processes. So we use a lot of toner, and then, for example, we had our mental health event in September where we made special bingo cards and other things that we distribute to residents. So as we do more outreach events and activities, we want to be able to give residents something in hand from our department so that they know a list of numbers, who to call when they need help, or just some services and some other takeaways.
Okay. And then I do see that there is an increase, almost double, of the education, training, and conference. Is there a particular conference that you and your staff is looking to go to that, or how is that, or why is that increase such as it is?
So within this past year, my staff and I did not attend any conferences. There are public health conferences that happen throughout the year. Those conferences are important because it allows us to come in a space with people from other areas, and you can really see where you are as a city, as an area. So considering under my direction, I have 6 staff, I would love to always ensure my 4 navigators are able to attend a conference. And again, I like to keep it within the state. So I don't have a running list of all of the conferences, but I'm trying to give them the ability to choose at least one that works for them so that they can each have that opportunity, because it's also about professional development for them.
Okay, and can you share with me again, I'm sure you stated this, what is your staff level or FTE for your area?
My staff level right now,
Yeah,
what did you say?
Yourself.
So for 6, thought so, okay. Sorry,
No, you're
went
fine.
blank.
No.
Myself, 4 navigators, and 2 front desk staff,
So there are a total of 7
7
bodies.
7 bodies.
And is that 7 full-time equivalents, or are there any part-timers there?
All full-time.
Okay. Okay. I think I'll yield here now.
Okay. Thank you, Shebra. Talk.
Yes, and I appreciate all of you.
Thank you. Oh, go ahead, Candace.
Thank you. I do want to say that I actually, and even when we're talking about the money for the vehicle, unless Ms. Ward thinks differently, I do see the value in this department having at least one city vehicle, again, because of the work that they're doing and the populations that they are serving. And I know, and I see them at events often, right? I just think that for certain events, especially some of the events I've had an opportunity to be at with you, it makes more sense for there to be a city vehicle as a mode of transportation as opposed to a personal vehicle. And you understand the events, so you know exactly why I'm
Yes.
saying that for at least
Yes.
2 particular events.
Yes.
But that's why I'm saying it would make sense for them to have it. I'm not saying everybody needs their own vehicle, but at least one, because
Oh, I have
Blight
no
is
problem with that.
Blight is actually calling on her more now as well. And so I think instead of her constantly driving her personal vehicle to those situations, it makes sense to have a city vehicle.
And the one thing is that this is opioid monies, this is not general fund monies. And it all has to, you're being paid from the 70%, so if you don't spend it, it's just, that money's just gonna roll over. So it's okay to leave it there if we want to. And, but I agree with Candace 100%.
I do also.
Yeah, so the
For-
count,
For clarity, this 28,974 for vehicle, did you state that that does include the assignment of a vehicle to your unit, or we're not exactly sure where that number came from? I wasn't.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think my official answer is that I'm not 100% sure where that number
Okay.
came from. I think it was just rolled over from when the funding was originally allocated to the Office of Public Health. As Shebra stated, they're not using a city vehicle right now.
I'm sorry, say that part again?
Yeah, as Shebra stated, they're not using a city vehicle right now. And I did state also, I looked back through 3 fiscal years and a dollar's never been spent out of that account. Unfortunately, I don't know why that $28,000 was budgeted, but that's not to say that it couldn't be used in the way that it's being proposed.
So to the panel, how do we go about ensuring that there is a vehicle available for this unit specifically?
I don't know if I'm the best
I think
person.
you're doing it right now. You're talking about it.
I'm sorry?
You're doing it right now. You're talking about it.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah, I'm just saying, how do we ensure that
actually-
it?
I'm actually putting that into a question. What would be the cost of a vehicle for the health department to cover that cost
Okay,
It's a doable thing.
I would hope.
of a vehicle for, I can't spell. Okay, let's go ahead to the next, while I'm writing it. Who's next? Thank you, Shebra. Cost of vehicle for. Yeah. We can. How would you like to proceed, Mr. Jarrett? Would you like to do Parks first, because it's so small? But Parks also, does Parks include Mays Center?
Yes.
Then let's keep going as we are. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead and introduce yourself for the people at home.
Good evening, Council. My name is Montel Menifee, and I'm the Deputy Director of Business Services.
Thank you, Montel. Do you have, go ahead if you have something to say about your department or what you cover. I know that you're relatively new in the position, only a couple of months.
Yeah, absolutely. So pretty much anything business, a lot of, we do all of the zoning. One of the things that I'm really hoping is that, we can get, these key roles filled in my department, particularly an additional zoning coordinator so we can work on zoning enforcement. We just got a vehicle for our department. But, one of the issues is, my department is in their offices all the time, and, it doesn't allow, time for, zoning enforcement and getting out like they should. So that's very important. Small business specialists, we're, as small businesses, are the key, to our community and every community. And, I'm just, hoping that we're able to get these roles filled, and as well as an economic development program manager to help assist with the EDC and our brownfield redevelopment authority. So
I understand that. Mr. Jarrett, would you like to start? Councilman in the 9th Ward.
So the staff that you were just referencing, are those positions that are currently open and being recruited for, or, so they are? So they
yes, sir.
those salaries are reflected in these figures here?
Yes.
Okay, so we won't need to change any of these figures to add those persons?
No.
So there is a significant increase with the wages. How do we go about looking at that? What is that reflecting on? Because it shows that there was a $518,000 budget for the year, and then the proposed for the following year is $919,000. What is that? How do I read that?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead and
Okay.
introduce yourself.
My name's Carissa Dotson. I am the Operations and Finance Administrator in the department that works along with finance, but in our department as well. So this number is going to be reflective of grants that we no longer are planning for. We had a capacity grant that funded some of the employees. In addition, there are some positions to fund. Phil, was Parks included in this 919,000? There are 2 new Parks positions that we are looking to fund with general fund because that 208 fund isn't sufficient to fund the positions. So along with the Parks, Rod, if you'd like to come up, that's fine. But along with this park security personnel and a new position, brand new, a parks analyst, that will increase the number in both the regular wage line item, which is that top one, and then in the fringe.
So, what I interpreted some of what you said to mean is that this number here, this 919, is here, and this is this just the general fund that we're looking to take this money from? Or does this represent?
That is just the general fund.
Okay.
And something we should add is that our general fund dollars are also supplemented with our grant funds. So anything that we do in planning and development, in business and community services that is not grant eligible, we must charge to the 101. So we do put an estimate of what time we think particular employees may need to spend on grant-related activities, but we also budget a small amount in our 101 fund for those things that are not grant eligible.
Okay. So this 919,000 for wages, that is not in fact necessarily the total expense of wages for this department. This is just the number that's going to be taken from general fund. Is that a fair statement to make?
That's very fair.
Okay. How then do we understand what the total cost is to run this department?
It would be a combination of every fund that is in it. Now, I will say that public health and I believe blight will be coming under the department. So I don't have those figures. Right now, we're doing our best to combine efforts. That's why Christian's here as well. So perhaps Che or Phil can give you the total number of every fund that we have, but I don't have that information.
I mean, I'm like I say, from what I just understood, these numbers only represent what's coming out of the general fund, but there may be some grant dollars or some other places where
There are some grant dollars.
Okay, so how do we as a council come to know what this department costs to run in total?
I don't think we have a chart in the budget that shows that, but we could probably provide you that information.
So
What is it?
when we do, so is that the same as what we just experienced sort of in the public office? These are only the charges that are coming to the general fund, but there may be some other expenses that we're not seeing, or is this unique to this one department?
This department has more grants than any other department.
No. Okay, that's fine to have more grants than any other department. My question though really is, how do we know what the total cost of this department is, not just to the general fund, but in consideration of wherever funding streams are, what does this department cost, such that very similarly, when and if the grants that we are receiving now is not renewed, we don't apply for, so that we sort of know that it's not going to be another $300,000 or $400,000 jump in the next year. Does that make sense?
It does, but I'd like to add that the grants that this department primarily oversees are entitlement grants, which are your CDBG, ESG, and home grants. Those admin dollars in CDBG last 6 years. Mm-hmm. The ESG admin lasts 2 years, and home lasts a very long time. So currently, we have enough on the books that if those grants aren't renewed in years to come, we can still fund those staff. Because there's still work to do to oversee the activities,
Right.
even after, we've decided what we're going to do with the funds.
And that's good. I can understand how that works, or how that could work. Mm-hmm. I am still interested to know, what does it cost to keep this department running in the way that it's running, or in the way that it anticipates running for this next fiscal year? What is the cost of keeping this functional?
I understand,
Yeah.
and what I'm saying is that those figures, because there are some changes with the structure, and I'm not that finance person,
Mm-hmm.
those numbers would have to be calculated by finance.
Okay.
And all they would do, though, is take the total appropriations for each department, add them together, and that would
Right.
be the total.
And that's the total I would like to come to.
I think we
Hear
can
and
get
see.
to those numbers, but you got to remember, if for some of these grants, if we don't get the grants, we're going to be reviewing our staffing needs at the same time.
Yeah, and that's another reason why it's good for us to know, because we want to give thought and consideration to how it's going to truly impact, and it otherwise would be impact on FTE. So how do we then maybe even assign persons in other roles, or add some different responsibilities? It could, a lot of that could come into play. But I'm like I say, I'm just curious to know what it's costing in total, and I'll yield now.
Okay, so you're, go ahead, Ms. Mashat. Councilwoman in this
Thank you.
7th Ward.
It's
My God.
definitely 7.
I'm trying to consign everybody to 8.
Not me, it's definitely 7. Good afternoon, Mr. Menifee. How are you today?
Good afternoon, Councilwoman.
Just a couple of questions, especially since I'll stay in this vein just for a second. How many full-time employees do you currently have?
Currently, I have, well, including myself, 5.
5. Mr. Menifee, I'm going to ask you a question that came up the other day, because it is our understanding that you are still the cannabis coordinator as well. And so that seems like those are two different responsibilities. And what we would hope is that with you taking on this important role to our city, in addition to being the cannabis coordinator, that there would have been some sort of monetary encouragement for that. Can you, how much more has your salary increased from you taking on this extra role?
That was asked in the letter. That was asked in the letter, too.
In the letter?
That I sent to Davina to send to the administration.
Well, he's here now. So.
I think like 12,000.
Okay, and then that is, but that, and then that's still, how is that split? And I think, Mr. Moore, do you have the answer to that?
Here I can give you a rough idea. There,
Okay.
Roughly half of his time gets charged to the cannabis operation. I believe 40% actually comes out of a grant funding, and then the balance, which is 7 or 8%, comes out of the general fund.
You said event funding?
He has a 7 or 8% comes out of the general fund, and there's about 40% that comes out of a grant fund.
Grant, okay.
Right.
No, I heard event. I was trying to catch the other word, thank you. All right, and then, so you would currently have 5, and that would be everybody in zoning at this point, right?
Yeah, so 2 of those, well, so I have myself, 2 zoning coordinators, and there are 2 people that sit at the front desk. They're called business licensing specialists.
Licensed specialist. We
Yes.
had a very in-depth conversation about
Yes.
that, and especially since licensing has not been moved from the clerk's office yet. And so, go ahead.
Yeah, we do have an update, and it should be coming before you guys in the last meeting in May to come over to my department.
Okay, so then licensing will officially be moved to your department.
Absolutely.
So this will be a question for your department coming up in May, though. And there's something that we requested from the person that currently operates licensing. It's the fact that when the emergency manager took over the city, they stopped requirements for a lot of businesses that should be licensed, and we currently do not have a licensing requirement for that. So I'm hoping that you would work with the person that currently is in licensing, who was also here during the emergency manager's time, to find out what licenses stop being required so that we can make sure that we begin to require them again.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Perfect. And so you have the 5, and you're saying in that 5 includes yourself, 2 coordinators, and then your 2 front desk. And you said in addition to that 5, you're looking to add?
Planner 1.
So 1, 2, I had 3. Is that correct?
It would be 4.
4?
An additional zoning coordinator.
Have
a
that,
planner
yes.
1. A small business specialist, and an economic development program manager 3.
Okay, I was missing planner 1. Thank you.
The small business specialist and the economic development coordinator would be the same, would be 2 different people?
Yes.
Okay.
The small business specialist would definitely help with small business outreach and, things like that.
Okay. And then, I don't know if this is the time. I guess this is the time, since it was mentioned under this department. You mentioned, Mr. Moore, or someone, I can't remember who mentioned about 2 new parks.
Yeah, the city has an excellent park system. We have 74 parks, I believe,
75, right?
maybe 75. It's a lot of parks. It's approximately 1,800 acres, and right now we have 1.5 people taking care of all those parks. And it's really hard just to make sure all the parks are
We have how
moved.
many?
Pardon?
How many people taking care of that?
We have 1.5 people right now.
Well, Diana's coming up next, so she'll correct me on that 75 if it is 74. But
uh,
yeah.
So if you just look at the number of acres per person, it's.
No, that
it's
makes,
crazy.
that makes complete sense. You don't have to, I just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure I heard correctly that we were also asking for 2 new parks. And then,
Yeah.
so with because we have 1.5 now, and then I heard 2 new people for parks, so would that bring us up to a total of 3.5? Or are we saying we're going to add,
We want to add at least 2 more positions, and.
so
part
we're
of
looking
it-
to do 3.5 for parks?
Correct.
Okay, and then I also heard, go ahead, I'm
Let's
sorry.
hold that off to parks. It's just, it's.
No, they mentioned it here as if
Oh.
it was a part
Yeah.
of this budget, so that's why I'm asking.
Oh, okay.
The other thing which you have to bear in mind, there's a real push to improve the parks in the city of Flint.
Right, and am I, Mr. Moore, because it was mentioned here when we were discussing these numbers, is it going to come from here or is it going to come from parks?
The plan is to take it from.
So it's going to come from here?
From
Okay.
the general fund, because
No
the
problem.
parks budget is stretched as is right now.
Okay.
So that, the idea is to take it out of the general fund so that we can improve the condition of the parks.
All right, and then, so we're looking at going to 3.5, because we're still going to keep that part-time person, right? Is that where, am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah,
I can wait for her to come up here for the rest of
Okay.
that. But then my other question, I heard security as well for the parks. Did I hear
Right.
that correctly?
yes.
And is that just one person or is that spread out?
Let our expert speak to that when it's her turn.
Okay, well, you don't have to do it yet. You're next. I was only asking because they're saying the money's coming from the budget that we're talking about right now. But I'll ask when you get up here. And then the one analyst.
Yes.
Is that different from the other employees I just discussed with Mr. Menifee? It is, thank you. All right. And should I have that discussion now, or is that a parks discussion? I'll wait for you for that one as well, thank you. And then when we were talking about grants and capacity, the reason the number increased was because one thing was for a capacity grant. Is it just that this isn't a grant that we go after yearly, or we are no longer eligible for that grant, or that grant no longer exists? What happened with the capacity grant?
Christian will have to speak to that.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, so, when we prepare the budget, we have to go off of the information that we can rely on. As far as that particular grant, it's not guaranteed at this moment. It's definitely something we would continue to seek.
So it is a grant that is it a yearly grant?
It
is
is-
it by-year? Go ahead.
Sorry,
Is
it
it
is
from the
yearly.
Mott Foundation?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it is typically yearly. In past years, we have had extensions because due to vacancies, but the term of the grant is usually 1 year.
1 year, and we usually extend because we have not fulfilled the terms of the grant?
They allow us to extend the term of the grant to spend what they allowed for us to spend, but some positions have not been filled.
If I may add, when they apply for the grant, they're applying for specific positions, and it funds a specific percentage of that position.
Okay.
So if we have not filled that position, or if that position is vacated, we can't use that money. And that
Vacated, that might be, there we
Yes.
go.
And that is what has happened in the past.
Yeah.
And I think, and Christian can correct me, one of the reasons that we first applied for the grant was because Flint wasn't competitive enough in its
For sure.
wages. And Mott helped to say, okay, we're going to give you these funds to help supplement that wage to try to attract people. And it hasn't worked as well as planned.
How much has that grant typically been?
It goes back several years, but the last 2 were each $750,000.
750, and this was to fund what specifically in that grant? Because I know we're not paying 750,000 for. Is it just one position over? But you said it's only for a year. So what's included?
I don't have, there's a number of positions, and I don't have that list of the positions, but it's positions, like the grant that we currently have was, none of the positions are 100% grant funded, but
Of course.
it included the Chief Strategy Officer, the Grants Management Officer. So it's in different departments, but mainly it's I think 3 positions in the mayor's department, and then
So we're using that grant that was granted to this department to fund positions in other departments, if I'm hearing you correctly?
No,
No.
I wouldn't say that it was granted. It was granted to the city. The
To
way
the
it,
ci-
yeah, the way it
okay.
was written, it was to help fund a couple positions in the mayor's department, and then several more in this department, the Business and Community Services.
So, okay, out of that 750, how much is for this department? And what positions were you looking to fill for this department?
Yeah, I didn't bring the specific list of positions because, like I said, we're not. I can't guarantee right this second that we can rely on receiving that grant again. Off the top of my head, I believe it was the director, deputy director, zoning coordinator, small business specialist, and planner 1. I might have nailed it just now, but.
I think so. Pretty close, if not.
And are we already at the end of that grant cycle from last year?
It follows our fiscal year, so it would-
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to put we're going to put that in a question, what positions are covered by the grant for capacity, right?
Yes,
That's the
in this
question.
particular department.
Yes, and that's, all right.
And it's a $750,000 grant.
Okay,
So how much of that 750 is dedicated to
Yep.
this department?
yep, got it.
Okay,
Amount or positions?
both.
Okay.
Then we passed an ARPA resolution for, and I don't know if this is the correct name for the person, but this is the name I'm going to give it, and you all can correct me. But we funded a position for an asset manager, if you will. Emily came before us, said that we needed money. Acquisition manager, I can't remember the exact title of the person, but said that we needed it.
Disposition.
Thank you. And said that,
What was the name of it?
It was for disposition of property
Yes.
owned by the city.
Oh, that will fall under my economic development program manager. That's under their job.
That's under another
responsibility.
budget?
Yes.
no, that's,
No, it's
no,
under-
it's
it's under
under
this
here,
one.
but he
Oh.
said he needed an economic development.
Okay,
So
all
that,
right.
that position is currently, that we gave funding for, that position is currently not filled.
It's not filled.
Okay, and
that was
has-
the position that I think Ryan Mattis had.
Perfect. And so if it's not filled, that means Ryan's not there to fill it anymore, if I'm.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's been gone since November, early December.
So how much of that ARPA funding was expended while he was here for that position?
Do we know? Shay? I keep wanting to say Shay. Okay, thank you.
All right, so, and then I'll just go from there of how much, so there, that answers that. That
I
person's
have
over there.
$121,308.11 total as of December 31st, 2025. So last quarter.
What was the last sentence? I'm sorry.
As of the reporting of last quarter.
If I can interrupt, was that pre-general fund or or post-general fund?
Post.
Okay,
Or, yes. So it's coming from the general fund.
okay.
But that's how much was expended for that position?
Yes.
How much, because I don't remember the exact amount, how much did we give for that position?
225,000.
You said 200 and what, I'm sorry?
25.
225.
Thank you. And so because it's going to go under the Economic Development Program Manager, I'm assuming that the rest of that salary is going to go over to that, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And then how much are we looking to hire an Economic Development Program Manager for?
I'd have to look, just to see if let me see if I have it.
Okay. If not, Judy,
Okay.
that's another question I have.
What is the budgeted amount? Okay. It's on my list. What is the budgeted amount for the Economic Development Coordinator's position is what I put. Is that exactly what you want?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to make sure that I ask exactly what you want.
I believe the total regular hour rate is going to be about 69,000, almost 70,000 for the Economic Development Program Manager, and then you have to add in all the fringe for that.
Yes,
So
so
the
that's what,
total for the entire, sorry, it's a really big spreadsheet.
No, bro.
I'd hate to be the one doing the accounting for this department, just saying.
So is it 100
Or I might like that, who knows?
right there, because it's 50/50. About 134,000 for wage and fringe.
Okay. Does that answer your question, Ms. Mashat, or do you want me to still answer that question?
I think she gave you the number.
Pardon?
She gave
Okay.
us the
All right, so
amount
I'm gonna
for it,
remove
so
that.
we can strike that.
I'm gonna strike.
Okay, and then, because I'm figuring we're gonna exhaust the rest of the ARPA funding that was set aside for that. So then what happens once that's exhausted? How are we supplementing that after?
With the general fund dollars, the 101-701-000. The budget we're looking at right now.
And that's included in this right now? Okay, so it's already budgeted in this.
So with the numbers that we're seeing that were budgeted, is that the total salary budgeted without the ARPA?
So we complete a personnel service worksheet where we estimate the percentage of time that an employee will work on given activities. So this dollar amount is the total of every employee that is in the business and community services that may hit the general fund. Non-grant eligible expenses. We also have the 2 positions in the parks. So it is, I would defer to the budget book for the total number of full-time employees, because it might be 20% of my time that's general fund and 5% of Mary's.
So then the answer to that is no. Because I was just saying, was the ARPA, the allotment that we gave for ARPA also included in this?
Nope.
Okay, perfect.
You're correct. The answer is no.
All right, thank you. And then earlier it was stated that Blight was coming under this department. We had Blight here, our first meeting. I don't think we were told that?
No.
That could be, but the plan is to put Blight under this department. The idea is that Blight is a priority by the city, and that it's matured to the point where it should be.
We need an org chart so bad.
I'll bring one next week.
Yes, because I guess I'm trying to understand if Blight comes under this department and Blight has their own. Okay. All right. But I think that goes back to our earlier conversation about me not understanding why certain departments, if you will, are not just their own standalone department.
There's a charter limit to the number of departments.
Thank you. Because I know you and I had that conversation offline, but I think it's important for people to understand who may be confused at home as well about why certain departments wouldn't just be their own department. Che?
I can just save a little time on the grant positions that were in the CS Mott grant.
Thank you.
They were Community Business Services Director. They were Deputy Director Business Services.
I'm sorry, 1 second.
Let me go ahead and put that in my notes.
What was the first one?
Community Business Services Director, Deputy Director Business Services, Small Business Specialist, Zoning Coordinator, and Planner 1. Those are what is in for this department. Additionally, I wanted to add, on the property disposition, that resolution was resolved for 2.75 years of salary. So just to clear things up.
Thank you, Jay.
So, I missed two of them.
I'm
it
gonna
was too
repeat it
fast.
back just because I want to make sure I was writing fast enough.
'cause
Community
I-
Business Services Deputy, Deputy Director of Business, Small Business, and make sure I put it right, Small Business Specialist, Zoning Coordinator, and Planner 1.
Yes.
Okay.
So 5 of them. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay. Thank you.
no problem. All right, I think for now, Councilwoman Priestley, I will yield to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
I only have a few questions because most of my questions were already asked as usual, and I'm always going to go last. Professional services is almost $70,000 down from the previous year. Is there a reason why? It goes from the 25-26 budget, goes from 209,715 to 135,000. Of course, the 25-26 budget was quite a large difference increase from what we expended in 25.
I think quality may have been part of it.
But wasn't that paid in all up front?
I believe that this is due to us already having fulfilled our software license agreement, and we don't have, because what?
Oh, none.
The quality.
Right.
Yeah, I don't believe that we need those funds in this coming year for that
okay.
purpose.
Okay, that makes total sense, absolutely total sense. Well, I believe the software is for the blueprints and stuff like that. Is that what I'm thinking about? No, it's not. It's something different. All right.
I believe it was a one-stop resource.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess I want to ask more questions. So explain to us about this software license. What is it for?
So it was for one-stop, business, everything business services, and we didn't use it. So I have been working with the attorneys. They did write a letter to cancel it, and I am trying to see if there's a way to get a prorated refund.
Okay, so I thought that one of the big things about all the, I know the building was, the area was really bad, but all the renovations and all the moving around of the department was to provide this one-stop shopping. And now we're saying we didn't do that, and I thought we had. So that is not the goal? That has been eliminated?
It still is the goal, but, our understanding is that BSNA is going to a cloud system now, and like before we renew and pay another $150,000 this year, it would, in my opinion, it would be smarter to, see what capabilities we have with the new BSNA cloud that we're already paying for, and then we can,
Because the new BSNA actually allows for more services than what, and we can keep it all under one.
Absolutely.
And it's all interconnected.
And we're already paying for it,
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. And that is actually a very smart business decision to do that. Thank you, Ms. Mashat.
Did you say he knows how to do his job?
He and I have talked. So, and then I'm looking at the postage line went down 900, but postage has gone up. Is it that you're not mailing out as much, or what? Do we know why that went down? Do we need more postage in that line item? Because that doesn't seem like a lot for all this stuff that you guys do. I know how much it costs my clients to mail.
Especially with the number of variances and rezones and all of that.
Yeah. Che, can you tell me how much they've spent in that line item?
Yeah, we were just discussing that. We have used 1,200 to this point this year, so we might get close to that 1,900 that is actually budgeted in there from the last year.
But we're only budgeting 1,000 for this year, for fiscal year '27. And we've already spent 1,200, so obviously that is not enough money. So we might need to take a look at that, and I think what I'm gonna do is ask the question for an educated dollar amount rather than having the council just throw out a number if we decide to do that. So I'm gonna ask for an educated dollar amount for required amount for postage. Yes.
So the $1,000 is for transportation and mileage. The postage is the next line item, and we've requested $9,000.
Oh, I don't see a 9.
Printing and publishing, and then there's...
It's, oh, I'm sorry.
Printing and
misspoke.
publishing is 9,000. Okay,
Thank you.
postage is 1,000, so, yep. Is that enough for printing it, actually, too? For all the supplies issues? I know you guys can easily transfer your monies in between the supply line item. I don't know that we want to individually line item budget and just do but the question, I guess then the question becomes, is it enough for the supply line item? Because it seems like that whole thing is.
At the time that we prepared the budget, we had spent $4,000. This would have been in January. So that was an estimate saying, okay, half the year was $4,000. We did that and then a small amount more.
So you feel that that's adequate at this point?
At this point, yes.
Okay. Okay, and then the other one is education, training, and conferences. We've got 10,000 in it. How much have you spent? Well, you're going to have new employees, so I'm assuming that they'll want to do more education. Hopefully, they'll come more prepared, well prepared. So, do you feel that 10,000 is still adequate? It is up 2,500 from the previous year, from the current year. And I know we adopted the budget from fiscal year '25.
I think there's a lot of vacancies.
So
There's really no way to tell, but typically new employees require training. There are other opportunities in professional development. So at this time, considering that we haven't filled those positions, it's adequate.
Okay. All right. The other thing is that I'm wondering what is the amount of salary and wages that we're paying for these employees, are they actually competitive or not? No, they're not. I can see that across the board, that people don't feel that's adequate. Because when we redid and these are exempt positions, correct?
No.
No, some of them are.
The small business specialist is exempt. The economic development program manager 3 is a $17.99 member. The zoning coordinator is $17.99. The planner 1 is local 1,600.
Okay,
So the only position is the small business specialist.
All right, so we're currently in the contract negotiations, so we need to stay out of that. I stay out of that. I do not address that, at least not publicly. All right, I think, does anyone have any other questions, or shall we go on to parks? Ready? Okay, thank you very much. Okay.
Would you like us to introduce ourselves? or-
Yep, please do so. I was waiting for the conversation to.
Hi, Diana Degner, Parks Planner.
Rod Slaughter, Deputy Director of Community Services.
Okay. Do you have anything you want to tell us first, or shall we just continue? Okay, Candace, you were second last time, and this is yours. You're up.
Hello, hi Rod, hi Diana, how are you?
Great, how are you?
Good. So I'm gonna go back to my other questions really quickly first. We currently have, how much personnel do you currently have? Start there. For, this is for parks, I'm just on the parks part right now.
What was the question?
Current personnel, how many?
Current personnel would only be Diana at this time.
Perfect. So who's the half?
There is no half.
We're in the process of trying to get a half very, very soon.
No. No.
All right, I'm behind the times.
So we have two holes.
Correct.
Okay.
No, no. So we have myself as the only Parks Planner, just one.
Understood,
The
thank you.
half, I believe, to my understanding, is we were, when we were talking about the budget previously, we were gonna request a part-time person, but we've now come to request the 2 full-time.
Perfect, so there's no half.
Correct, so I'm just the current, and then we're requesting 2 additional
2
full-time.
additional.
Correct.
And Diana is only funded at 80% from this budget.
Where's the other 20?
Where's the other? I believe it's the millage, but. Oh, no, general.
That's the 173, no.
Could you
General
repeat that
fund.
question?
The one we've already discussed this evening.
Perfect.
20%.
I didn't hear your question.
Oh, no. So, Carissa was saying that Diana was only 80% funded from 208. And so then I asked, where was the 20 coming from?
Okay, good.
Okay. And then you're looking to hire 2 new, what's the title?
The 2 titles, was the planner one?
Parks analyst.
Parks, yeah.
Administrative analyst. And the title of the other one, I only know what they'd be doing, but.
You mentioned it before when you were speaking with Montel.
Just a regular, I just had analyst.
It wouldn't be, it'd be the opposite one.
It's the park security.
Correct, yes.
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sorry about that, Rod.
We have the actual title, Park Safety Facility Specialist.
There we go. Yes.
Park safety.
What would they be
Facility
doing?
Specialist.
So they would be somebody that would be in the field more often than here, right? Because we contract out our mowing. So they would be checking on how that's going. They'd be checking on the safety of the playground equipment. They would be, if, I imagine that we have a lot of contractors doing work, and we will have more upcoming. So making sure the contractors are there doing what they're supposed to be doing, really out in the field.
So we have 2 part-time employees currently under cannabis that do exactly what you are describing. So what's the difference?
It's the same job classification.
Same job classification?
Yes.
Understood. They would just be doing it full-time?
This person would be doing it full-time, yes,
Okay.
And focusing totally on the parks.
on our city parks.
How many city parks?
Hey, 75, you know who I forgot?
You want to know why I knew we had
St. John's.
75?
I forgot about St. John's, adding
No.
that. Would
The
make it 75.
only reason why I know we have 75 is because once a month, every Tuesday, I have the pleasure of hearing about 75 parks.
Yes.
So, yeah. All right, thank you. I think that's it for, what are the wages we're looking at for those positions?
Here we go. So the Parks Facility Specialist would have a yearly base salary of $44,049 before fringe. And then the total cost of that employee, help me out. Here's the administrative. That's a parks coordinator, administrative analyst. So if I could, because I'm at the spot that's the administrative analyst.
Yep.
The total for that position, including fringe, would be $104,000.
Okay.
And then the total for the parks facilities specialist would be, I have that backwards, $117,000 for the analyst, $104,000 for the facilities specialist.
Okay. So total of 221,000.
Okay. My next question would be, because I'm looking at, I guess this is page 4 of this lovely handout from you, Mr. Moore, so it's probably going to be from you. Why do we have 1, 2 areas marked supplies? Is it, help me, can you break that down for me?
Yeah, there are different sub-departments within the park system.
Say that again.
We have sub-departments within the Parks Fund. So it's more than one department, or it's how we classify it. The
So what
different
departments
cost
would we
centers.
be looking at supplies for with this? What sub-departments?
Just a second.
I'm working on it.
Thank you. And then, yeah, because it's just going to be the same thing with professional services. And then I'm going to ask what professional services, but because professional services, I noticed there are 3 different spots for that, so. Line items.
Oops, wait a minute. 140.
So the, Christian has just informed me that this is the senior center. One supply thing is for the senior center. And
Can you
then
tell me which is which?
If you are looking at the 208-752-140.
Yep.
Hold on
That's the
one second.
McKinley Center.
That's McKinley, thank you.
Wait 1 second.
And the other one that is 208-752-102 is Diana and Rod.
102 is Diana and Rod. And then you said supplies for,
What about the 160?
Yep, that would be the Maze
That's
Center.
Hasselbring.
That's Hasselbring?
so 140, I'm sorry, you said 140 is McKinley?
Or Maze Center?
Yes, 140 is McKinley, 160 is
All right, perfect.
Maze.
McKinley's not a senior center. And then the 160 is Maze?
Correct.
Okay. I got it.
So then, that actually, I'm sorry, did you have something? Okay. You see it now? All right. These were all supplies that they just, and so I'm imagining that the professional services would correspond
If
under
you-
the supplies.
If you look down the line, it's
So.
a group of, that's repeated, and,
Nope, he's with us.
okay,
He's-
okay.
If I could just ask, 102 represented what area?
That was Diana and Rod, so.
So that's administration.
The next was the McKinley Center, and then the third was the Mays Senior Center. And so then I see that with the professional services, it's not much of a jump, but what would we be including in the professional services for? Yeah, because it's just going from what, 318, 200 to 400 even. And that is for 102.
Did you do the increase based on the cost of mowing? So this line item includes the mowing of the cemeteries, the mowing of the traffic triangles.
And that's the mowing that we do ourselves, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. tree trimming, park improvements, snow removal, and investments into the golf courses. Security monitoring. So I believe the additional cost is for additional services and I would guess expenses
like 50
associated with
questions just
gas
on
and
that.
whatnot.
When we're saying tree trimming, is it, what trees specifically? I'm sorry.
Would be parks.
That would be the trees in the parks that pose a danger that we're responsible for.
Okay. So
Conway has a,
so the county, what they do for us, they just simply mow, that's it, and then we do the trees?
So, yes, the county does, according to the agreement right now, mowing, light maintenance.
Light maintenance. But we would do, so light maintenance does not include the tree trimming?
Correct.
Thank you. They care more about posting and printing than I do. Postage, I don't care about that. I do have a question though, as far as the McKinley Center goes. No, that's not y'all to answer, right? You are going to be able to answer? Okay, perfect.
I'm not gonna say for sure, but we may be able to, yes.
I probably not. Go ahead, Christian.
Yeah, I'll try my best to answer it.
One, I have for the professional services, and then I have another question specifically McKinley related after that.
Yeah, you're wondering about the 28,000?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. So it's nothing crazy. It's 10,000 for estimated to install a generator because they want it to be a heating and cooling station, and then $1,500 a month for janitorial services. So that totals to 18,000. So.
Thank you. So I'm happy to hear that we're looking forward to the summer and the fact that we will need cooling stations. I do have a question, and maybe I don't see where it may or may not be represented, but we currently have a tenant paying rent at McKinley, correct?
Correct.
Where is that represented here in our budget?
I apologize. I didn't hear your question.
I said that we currently have a tenant paying rent at the McKinley Center, correct?
Yeah, it would be in the revenues, but I didn't. Yeah, I didn't prepare the revenue budget, so I can't say.
would that be, should that be under the rental senior centers?
No, because it's not a senior center.
That'd be the previous page.
Previous page. Thank you.
Page 3? Oh, the rent, yep, okay. I just saw the rental senior center, so.
Yeah, I know that I could definitely look up which account those payments are received in.
We have $1,000 for the rent. Is that just for the tenant at McKinley?
That's not the amount of the rent.
I'm aware. That's why I'm asking.
And don't quote me on this. I want to say it's $1,400 a month.
Correct.
So what is this 1,000 representing?
I just want to be sure that you're referring to the account number 208-752-102-667?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, without knowing, because I don't know if that's the account that the revenue from McKinley that goes in.
Mr. Moore?
It's just, we're looking.
Perfect. Thank you. We weren't estimating any revenue for the other department. probably should turn my mic off. Jeez. Golly. This is sick. You might want to hurry up and bring the mic up here.
We can't tell you from what we have here. We'll have to get back to you about that.
Judy?
Okay.
We know it was a cash rent, but we don't know who or for what, so.
Okay, so Judy, the question is for 208-752-102-667.
Just a second. I don't have keyboard. I mean, I have to use a keyboard.
No problem.
208-752.
102-667. It's rent, then they have this, but it couldn't be for, okay.
Are we just asking for McKinley Center?
Is this only representative of, a representation of the McKinley Center? When we're talking about, okay, we need complete clarity. That's all I can say is we need complete clarity.
Okay.
What is included in?
So the rent line you're looking at is actually the Parks and Forestry Department. So I don't think this pertains to McKinley whatsoever.
You don't think, okay, so then that still raises a question. So one, I want clarity on what that represents, and then two, the tenant that we currently have in the McKinley Center, how much is the rent and where is that being placed as far as revenue?
Is that rent line item for rental of the parks? Because are rental of the parks free?
No.
No, so that might be exactly what it is, okay.
I mean, I just want clarity though. We can
Yeah.
guess all day, but they would know.
Yep, put it down. What is in the line item? Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Then I noticed for estimated revenue, and I'm skipping around because I'm back on this page. We'll go back to the other page. But I noticed for estimated revenue for rental for senior centers, why are we not proposing anything for that in this budget?
For which line item?
It is under the estimated revenues, and it's literally, it's right under state grants. So you have your state grants, and then you have your rental for senior centers. Are we just not estimating any revenue for renting out the centers?
There should be a number there. I don't know. Let's check and see what that number. I suspect we would.
Sure. I can look up what's going on here.
When I was putting in the revenue numbers, I was sure what we were going to be getting on rent from that. That was a while ago, so
Okay.
that could probably be updated.
Thank you. That makes sense. And then state grants. Are there any grants that, and this goes back to Diane and Rod, are there any grants that we normally apply for that we get and we're just not counting them here because it's a possibility we won't get them? Or are there any state grants that we normally get for our parks?
No.
No.
So that's something I would love to do in the future is apply for more grants.
Yes.
But that's another reason we're asking for additional staff, right? So that my time can be freed up to do things like that.
You actually just answered my question because I was going to ask Christian, who normally takes care of grants for this department, but that's a you thing?
It's a department of one.
I know, I completely understand.
So, yeah, right.
Yeah.
So anything, that it would be me at this point, right? But again, I'm hopeful that we can change that.
No, and it is important for us to highlight that. The fact that we are having a hard time in even going after grants is because there's only one person in this department, which is why we do need the other two people for this department. So that's important for us to highlight.
Yes.
I would like to add,
Go ahead.
though, that there are some CDBG allocations that Parks does have for park signage and some other things that are not reflected in this budget because those are posted in a different fund that's part of the grant accounting. So those grants are limited, though.
No, completely understand. Budget time is always fun, right? Because you have to figure out where it's coming from, where it's housed. So, but thank you. That offers some clarity.
Just to
Yes.
clarify that a little bit, the parks millage by law has to be kept in a separate fund.
No problem.
So that's kept separate, and we have the similar problem with a lot of the grants. They have to be kept separate, and it makes it difficult for everybody else to track it. And
Right.
follow it.
Yeah. But I would assume even with the parks millage, the portion that does come to the city, do we just give that back to the county to maintain our parks, or what do we do with our parks millage?
It's in this fund.
No, he said it has to be separate.
So in the last agreement for the Genesee County Parks Partnership, council authorized a resolution to pay the full amount from the Charles Stewart Mott grant of $620,000. We will be bringing forth a resolution, and I believe it's the May 27th date, to ask for an increase in the amount of $177,000 plus to pay out of the parks millage for those parks that were not covered under the $620,000.
Jeez. So basically, we're giving them $620 to maintain our parks. And that's
Some
from the
of them.
MOT. That's from MOT. And then from there, you will have to come back and request, how much was that?
For this year, $177,000.
And that is to go to Genesee County Parks as well to maintain the rest of the parks.
Right. Now, I don't believe that that will be the plan moving forward, but I can't speak to that. Certainly, it would be better to not have $177,000 of the expected $430,000 from the parks millage going to Genesee County. But currently, that's where we're at with the mowing that they've already done. So hopefully in FY27, there will not be a millage portion that is allocated towards Genesee County parks.
What would we do with that portion that does not go to the parks? Would that all come so that
Yes.
Diana can have the adequate staffing that she needs?
Well, I doubt it would give her the adequate staffing she needs, but it would help.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Because one of the things that we know that keeps qualified, competent employees such as Diana is making sure that she is fully supported in the way that she needs to be fully supported. So let's make sure that we are fully supporting her. And you just tell us what we need to do as a council, because we'd like for Diana to stay. She's doing an incredible job. So.
Excuse me, I did find something.
Perfect.
That $1,400 rent is going into that 208-000-000-667-160. It may be misnomer as rental senior centers, but that is where the $1,400 is going since August till March, and we're just probably awaiting the rental payment this month, I would assume. And additionally, other things like renting out the senior centers are going into here too.
So it will go there.
revenues.
Just right now, that is blank for us.
All I know is that's where it's going. I don't know where they want to put it in the future. I just want to tell you we are collecting those monies, and it is in BSNA.
Right, and so it's gonna go to that 160 rental for centers. And that's the rent for our current tenant. And that's $1,400 a month?
Yes, it's been $1,400. It looks like it's been $1,400 since August of 2025 until March
March of,
of this year. So, yeah, so for these past, what is it, 8 months? So that, yeah.
I'm with you, thank you so much. And then, and I know you explained this to me the other day, Mr. Moore, I forgot, local community stabilization share.
That's a type of state shared revenue,
State shared revenue.
and it's just broken out a little bit.
I won't forget again, thank you. That's not a promise.
That will be, Ms. Priestley wrote a letter asking for some information, and that'll be on the letter that, when we respond back.
No. I'll remember. That's a beautiful way of saying state revenue. Thank you.
All right.
She's gonna take the floor from me in a second.
I'm
I'm
gonna
sorry.
take the floor
I
from
know,
you.
I yield.
Okay. Councilman from the 9th Ward, Mr. Jarrett, your turn. She asked all the questions.
No, I had more questions my first time around, but I figured I'll wait. Let somebody else ask some questions, but okay. No. So I'm just, as it relates to professional services under the Mays Center, that $90,800, what is that to cover?
Yep. I can say that we budgeted $5,000 because we want to install an awning over the entrance. $5,000 because I've never been in the center, but there's a wall that needs to be torn down. $10,000 again for the generator install. There's $34,320 that's budgeted for the classes on home repair and computers and arts and crafts. There would be a number of instructors that would teach those classes. $12,480 for the meals for the seniors, and right now that's currently coming from the food bank. Roughly about 80 meals per week, $3 a meal. $6,000 for outreach for community events, and then $1,500 a month for janitorial services, so $18,000 for that.
So that equaled the 90.
Okay. That was the only thing I still had pending. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That was one of my questions too, so thank you very much, Mr. Jarrett, for asking those questions. And I've got questions too about the Mays Center, because this is the elephant in the room, right? That here are some of the expenses, but I don't see the wages for the Mays Center under the parks.
We have no wages going from the Mays Center in the 208 funds, all coming out of the general fund.
Is it coming from the business development?
It's coming, no.
Or whatever the plan, who knows what your name is anymore? It changes every time I turn around.
It's kind of like a sub-department of the mayor's office under the ARPA, where there's a resolution that passed that approved a half dozen different positions. One of them was the Mays Center liaison, which is where the director's being paid.
Okay, I'm gonna look up that resolution just so I have it. I know I have it, and I know I have the number, but I have to look that one up. Okay, and then you said 80%, Diane, of your salary is covered under this. I mean, I've seen a budget of $46,000 in wages total, and that doesn't seem like that is enough for both of you, because both of is. Rod, is any of your wages in this, or is it just Diane?
Just Diane.
Okay, all right. So that, for one person, that is there. All right, and those were let me go back.
Can I tell you the resolution number?
Pardon?
Can I tell you the resolution number for the
Yeah.
administration?
What's the date?
The date?
The date it was approved?
It was 4/22/2024. It was 240139, and the line that pays for it within the resolution itself is the portion of existing business and community services program manager time.
That's where it is. Okay. And does it have a dollar amount for it?
$75,000 per year, and that's wages and fringes, and that's
For 3 years?
I think it's 2.5. Give me 1 second. Yes, 2.5.
Okay, that would be helpful for the whole council to hear. because the big concern is the budget for it and the grant funding. Okay, the land sales, is that was in 2025, we had $172,600 in land sales. Nothing in the budget for this year or for the current year or next year. What were those land sales, and do we expect to have any land sales for these 2 years? Does anyone know that answer?
I don't think we're planning to sell any parkland in.
Bingo, that's what it was, saleable park.
Right.
Thank you. That's what my question was. All right, I'm done. Any other further questions from my colleagues? Okay, hearing none, thank you very much. We're going on to building and safety inspection. And Mike goes, yay, my turn. Till 8. This is everybody. We'll be done in plenty of time. This is the last one. We probably could have.
Good evening.
7:30. Good evening.
Where's everybody at?
As a resident of the city of Flint, you have the right to ask that.
Okay. You don't have to answer.
I'm here. I'm always here.
That's one that matters.
Thank you, Mike. Love you too. Mike can be my buddy, and sometimes he isn't. Sometimes he gives me the answer I want, and sometimes he doesn't. That's when I don't like him.
But you always get an answer.
I always get an answer, that's right. It might take a couple of days for the return phone call, but I always get an answer. All right, so go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys talk about your budget a little bit, and then we'll start with Jonathan. We'll start with you if they have any introductory comments.
Well, my name's Mike Ryder. I am the building official here at the city. And Jack Hippie's our foreman in our office, who soon will be taking over, hopefully. So we're going to put him up here, and if you have any questions, he can answer them, and I'll back him up.
When's your retirement date?
Well, that's a secret.
Okay.
I'm going to shoot for my birthday.
And that's a secret. Go ahead.
A few
Go ahead,
months.
Ms. Councilman in the 9th Ward. You can go ahead and start.
As it relates to revenue, blight fees, what does that mean to this department?
So blight is a separate.
Yeah,
I'm not
that's
even
sort
sure.
of why I'm asking. What is, they have revenue on here for last year. What does that mean for this
Okay.
department?
Let me talk a little bit about blight from my perspective. This department is extremely important for the control of blight in the condition of the city, because what they do is make sure that buildings are built safe, that they're maintained properly, and without it, we have more dangerous structures, and it just would add to the blight if you didn't have what they do. This is an extremely important department for the city in order to control blight, because without them, buildings will fall apart. And I mean that quite literally.
So if we're showing revenue for blight, now there was a point up till I think maybe January that we accepted the payments for, say, a blight citation.
Okay.
Okay.
That revenue certainly didn't come into our office, but we collected it because we were one of the few
Collection points.
counters that takes in money for that, but that would have not been within our budget.
And
Would
that's,
have been part of our budget.
that's fine, I'm just trying to understand, because I see it's not carried over, there's no number for 26, 27, but I was just curious what it otherwise represented in the previous year. So, as it relates to the revenue, the numbers are pretty much the same this year as they were last year. Is that because you are and have been working at maximum capacity and efficiency, or is there no growth there? What does that represent?
I would have to say we're certainly efficient for what we do with the staff that we have, and we're not general funded at all.
Mm-hmm.
So for us to have more staff would only mean our fees would raise.
Mm-hmm.
So we just try to keep a happy medium here and do what we can with what we have, and hope we can answer all the questions.
Okay. Like I said, I'm just trying to understand if it also might mean that there is not any anticipated growth in those areas either.
So when you say in those areas,
Business licenses and permits development,
okay.
business licenses and non-business license and permit development. Just what are those?
So non-business permit. So that would be if you need to put a roof on your house, you need a permit to do that. Non-business is residential.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a guessing game, these budgets. How much, are there gonna be new buildings here in the city? Is anybody anticipating, building another warehouse out on, Stewart? So that's our non-business, or that's our commercial revenue. And so we're doing pretty good. I mean, we just go by the permits, right? What you take in on a mechanical permit, a plumbing permit, a building permit, or an electrical permit. And that's where them numbers are coming from.
So I would imagine, excuse me, and I think the reason that for him, it is a bit difficult to guesstimate higher than probably what they already receive is because we run into a lot of people who just do things and they don't ask for the permits. And so I think that that's a bit of a reason of why that would be a little bit harder to guesstimate. And then I think that because given what they are responsible for a city our size, even with the 81,000 people, I think it is hard with the amount of staff that he has that is actually dedicated to that amongst several other things. It's hard for them to keep up with who should be getting fined or some sort of, it's one of those things, unfortunately, because he doesn't have enough staff, you kind of work on the honor system. So we should probably be looking at staffing with this department. If that makes sense, I hope that helps.
No, that, I can accept that explanation of sorts. But I'll let you continue. No, I'm fine because I'll save room to come back.
Oh, because there's a whole second page.
Mm-hmm, I know. Yeah, I'll let you all start with that.
I just skipped the wages and all those, half of the lines are all related to wages, and as long as we know. Do you have any vacant positions? I'm sorry, I'm taking over from I'm writing over Mr. Jarrett's time. Is that all right, Mr. Jarrett?
No, go
I don't
ahead.
wanna- Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine. Go ahead.
How many vacant positions do you have, Mike?
Currently, we would love to have an in-house plumbing inspector and a mechanical inspector.
Right now, we're subcontracting those out?
Correct.
Are they posted? Are those
That's a good
positions
question.
posted?
We've had those jobs posted for
Years.
Multiple years.
years. And unfortunately, that's what we ran into and had to
Are they
put
union?
that out for bid, and we only had one taker. So,
Are they union or are they exempt?
I don't believe so.
No, they're union.
They're exempt?
Oh, they're the positions.
Yeah,
Oh,
yes, sorry.
Open
Plumbing
positions.
mechanical inspectors are union positions. Yeah,
Okay.
They're 1,600.
Okay, okay. So we have to stay out of that.
With that, are we looking to be a bit creative, if you will, as far as maybe looking at some people that are maybe coming out of skilled trades? Are we working with like my workforce development, something like that too? And I understand that because again, it's a suggestion based off the fact that I understand maybe the level of experience you might need, but it's just a suggestion, no question.
So the positions for those inspectors, for the trades, building, electrical, plumbing, mechanical, along with the experience you need, you have to be registered through the state. You have to pass their testing and meet their criteria. And that's one of the hurdles that we have run into, because we have had a couple people that would be great inspectors for one of the spots, and they can't get registered with the state. So that's where we're at.
The last couple of years, the state has raised the bar, so to speak, on the qualifications to become a licensed inspector, be it building, plumbing, mechanical, electrical. And they have really, as they put it to us at one of our trainings, shot themselves in the foot because they can't even get enough people that are qualified to take the job.
Yeah.
It's made it very difficult to find people that meet the qualifications.
Is the issue, is it a salary issue?
Both.
Do we know? Okay.
Yes.
I mean, even when we're talking about qualified, because again, I believe everyone up here is a huge supporter of the union, so I would just imagine in that with, union connections, we could find someone.
Well, we did find someone for plumbing at one point through the union. He was retiring, and unfortunately, he passed after 1 year. And we haven't had anybody else. I mean, we've interviewed a few people, and they want $100,000 a year. Right now, the building going on in the state, I'll just stick with our state. These guys are making, $200,000 a year. So to leave that and come here is another hurdle that we run into. In the only way, we can't just bump up everybody's pay in our office. It's a trickle effect throughout the city, and we have to be able to afford it.
And we have to be able to keep them busy. I'm sure we have that ability.
There's no shortage of keeping them busy.
We definitely don't have the shortage. It's just, Sheesh.
And if some of the housing ideas that I'm working on come to fruition, then you'll be even more busy.
Oh, there's a lot going on. These inspectors are not, they're not bored. There's plenty to do.
Yeah. Looking at the professional services line item, I noticed that there are
Go ahead, Candace.
2, no problem, line items for those. Can you help me? Che, why do we have 2 for this?
Working on it.
Yeah, because there's a 100 and a 400.
So which one are we looking at?
So I'm both, because I'm just trying to figure out why there's a 100 and a 400.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Chase, she's talking about 248,
Yeah.
271, 100.
Yeah.
Versus 249,
Yeah, the other one is for demolition fire escrow, the 400.
The 400 is for demolition and fire escrow?
That's what it's listed under in BSNA.
Perfect. So since we're there at demo and fire escrow, let's stay there, shall we? Why are we not projecting anything this year for that?
Well, that money, fire escrow, you're only gonna get that if somebody's house is insured and their company is on board with the Fire Withholding Act of the state of Michigan. So that's why and I don't even know why we didn't project any. I mean, there's always gonna be fires, but
So right now, we're looking at over $1 million in fire escrow, right? That we were advised to either do something with or send back. So why are we still sitting on? What's the plan for that?
well, the city we are creating a demolition program.
Right.
And that's the first money they'll be able to use. It's specific to an address, you know.
Right.
You can't use your fire withholding money to tear her house down.
Right. No, I understand that piece.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is, how are we chasing down, or how are we figuring out because I understand they also have to be compliant in some way, right? So they will get that escrow money if they either demolish the property themselves or if they do whatever repairs or anything that's needed. However,
Correct.
if we have to, how are we determining if it's something that we're just going to demo? Because some of these homes, right, they caught on fire 2, 3, 4 years ago, and for sure. But the owners haven't done anything with that, and we're still sitting on the fire escrow money. So do we, as a city, have a time limit that we place on this? Because again, we have these homes where 2, 3, 4, 5+ years where we're just holding on to this escrow money, and they've done nothing with the property. So what is the city's policy where that is concerned, so that we can start clearing out some of that 1 million plus?
Yeah, so that's been going on a long time. There are homes, and years ago, we only may have $5,000 on that house. Well, it costs $35,000 to tear it down, so if all the money is not there to cover the cost of that home, then you have to use different money. So
do we have
creates other issues, so.
Do we have a list that already determines that, though? Do we have a list that we say, okay, this home has been sitting there for 7 years, it's only $5,000 of fire escrow on there?
Yeah, we have a list.
We do have a list. Can we get?
Don't you have that list?
I have the list, but it's old, and I just tore it up between private owned and land bank properties. Yeah. So it's not in the order, but I've asked for it.
So there's another point.
Okay.
Some of these homes, some people don't even know that their insurance company sent us this money. And then some of these homes end up changing hands, say go to the land bank, and they're using that money. So
they're using what money?
There, because that house, if they tear a house down that had fire withholding on it and they own it, they're allowed to use that money.
Right, but that wouldn't be still included in our 1 million then, right? That would be taken off of our.
No, we don't come out of it. Whatever fire withholding is.
I'm sorry.
That's it. I'm sorry, Jack.
No, you're good. It would come out of that.
No, so then I'm not talking about anything that goes to land bank. I'm talking about like specifically city.
Okay. So the money, the $1 million, let's say there's $1 million. That could be, it doesn't, there's no distinction on who owns it. Okay, that $1 million, there could be, half of it could be houses owned by the land bank. Now, they certainly weren't when we received the money. So it's my understanding per the law, if we have if money comes to our office, to the city,
Okay, so really quickly, I'm sorry, I'm gonna pause you there. So, Mr. Moore, when when Raymond did the findings, there wasn't a separation between the 1 million plus, whether it was actually 1 million plus that was city escrow or county escrow? Like, how did they come up with the 1 million, where did the 1 million plus in findings come from?
We have approximately $1.7 million in fire escrow funds.
Is that, but that's just strictly city. That's not counting the properties that were reverted to the county, that went to the county, correct?
That's the money that we have in escrow right now.
City only, not county included.
Right.
Okay, so,
I think that's confused. Some of the money that we have in escrow needs to be S-sheeted, right?
I assume so, yes.
And I've been asking for that to be done for a while. So some of these properties have gone to the land bank, and that money is sitting in our escrow account.
Until they perform an action, the money is not theirs. So when they demolish it, then we can give them that money. Until then, it sits in our fire escrow withholding account.
is there a coordination process between the city and the county of when the county actually tears down the burnt up property? Or could it be possible that they have demolished a burnt up property that had an escrow on it and we have not given them that portion of the escrow that belongs to them?
So they're going to want the money that we have escrowed for properties they demolished, and they'll send us paperwork to ask for it. Now sometimes it takes them a while to get it together, but it definitely would be within months probably of them demolishing the property and asking for the funds. And to answer your other question, late today I got an email from Dylan Howard from Finance asking for the list, and I did prepare it and I sent it to him and Phil, so you should be getting that.
Will that list tell us what is currently
Yes, it's,
county property?
I do have a line that says whether it's owned by the land bank or not.
Thank you. This brings up a whole other set of questions that has nothing to do with our budget, so I will move on from that. Mike, I feel like I talked to you enough to the point where there aren't too many questions that I have about your budget because
it's never enough. It's never enough.
It's never enough. I appreciate that. Yeah, because I spend quite enough time talking to you anyway. There's not too much in this budget for me that doesn't make sense or isn't clear. I've said to you a few times that you need more staff. You just do.
And, that's a challenge because the only way we could pay for it is to up our fees.
Well, there are some things that I feel like, one, you are correct, right? I think that's crazy that somebody can tear up a whole driveway, right? And turn it into a parking lot, and $25 is the only thing they're hit with, and they did that without a permit, without any, you know what I'm saying? So for them, it's just, I might as well just do what I want to do, and then give you your $25 and go on with my brand new parking lot that's messing up this neighborhood. Because this was the driveway that I've now turned into a parking lot.
And so it gets a little trickier because yes, certainly we can go cite the violation. Our office, we always try to communicate verbally with somebody.
Right.
No, listen, this isn't correct. I mean, if you can look down the street and see, this doesn't fit.
Right.
The court system, well, I can write a ticket, I can write 3 or 4. I don't have authority of what's gonna get on the docket at 68 District Court. So that's challenging also. That when they merged down there, I used to be able to write a ticket, and I knew I was in court 2 weeks later. I had the day and the time. Now we have to wait, sometimes months.
But I think even with that, right, the time that it costs you to go to court, the time that it costs the person to go and write the ticket, the time that it costs to follow up with the process is far more than the ticket that they get anyway.
In the time that the cost of the ticket is not even in our conversation, because we don't see any of that anyway. The time that it takes our inspectors to go through that whole process is completely ridiculous.
Right,
But
absolutely.
It's what has to happen. It's what we need to
No,
do.
I get that,
Somebody
but it's
needs
like
to
by
do
the
it.
time we get to the part where they have to pay the fine, because I'm agreeing with you about the fact that the fee needs to be more. Because by the time you get to, okay, the court's saying you do have to pay it, it's cost us more than it would to even collect.
Absolutely, but the real end result that we're looking for is to not have that violation, that
For
eyesore.
sure.
And it's a slow process.
And I think if it's something as simple as raising of the fees, and I told you this last year, I support that, and I will gladly put something in front of this council. We go however you need that process to work for the fees to be raised, because we are in agreement. We've been in agreement for well over a year that it just needs to be a stronger penalty, because right now I can just give you this little bit of money, or I can wait you out and waste your time, and I still do what it's illegal for me to do anyway.
Right, and that's, and there's more to that also. So I could charge you $5,000 because you're of all this, 10 cars in your yard and a cherry picker and oil
Yeah, we have that.
everywhere and amongst a lot of other things. But let's say you're renting that house and that person that owns it ain't even paying their taxes, and then that house ends up at the land bank. Nothing that you have done or you're gonna recoup. You can't.
Right.
So right now, any fines or fees, citation, that's gonna go assessed on your taxes of the house, that may be abandoned. If something was to change, and I'm sure that would be quite a process to go after your boat in Florida or California or wherever you are. We have a lot of out-of-state people that own houses in our city, and
for sure.
And it's more and more.
It's definitely a state level issue that needs to be addressed.
It's always going to be a challenge, but we just keep plugging along. And I mean, if it's come down, if we can get one property cleaned up and two in a month, somebody's happy. Them neighbors are happy. That's for sure. That's not going to stop your phones from ringing. Certainly not mine, because there's a lot more out there. But
no, but as always, I know where to find you. I'll find you, so we can continue to figure out how to work that out. I'm actually going to go ahead and yield, because, like I said, there's nothing in this budget that I would have any real questions about because of the conversations.
I'm just going to take a couple minutes, Mr. Jarrett, and then you can come in if you need it, if you have any other further questions. Is when we're talking about raising fees, we want to make sure that we're competitive with other communities in the county or in the state, so that we're not discouraging people who may be willing to build to come to this area.
Do you know what else discourages them from coming?
I know the blight and all the other stuff. I will tell you that I'm not, this is a budget hearing, so I know of a street that could be almost totally rebuilt. It's so but it's full of abandoned and burnt out structures.
have you been on my street or something?
No. No.
Okay.
You're not in my ward.
All right.
Mr. Jarrett, did you have any questions? Okay, thank you very much, and it's 7:13, and I'm closing out the hearing. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I guess I have just a couple of questions then for today.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's always pretty straightforward.
He tells it like it is.
No,